the small kid. Then, let me see the two questions. Yeah, this one. Everyone has this one. Two diagnostic questions. Why do we ask this one? This is very important. When we ask this, when we share the gospel, this is the reason why. It's highlighted here. The first question, remember the first question? We're asking them, have you come to a place? Have you something tragic happened to you today? Are you sure going there? That's the first question, right? So we ask the question, what's the reason? The answer, the answer to that first question, this one. The answer to this first question would tell us whether or not the person has the assurance of eternal life. Wow, that is to know whether you have assurance. Yes, I'm going to heaven, or maybe no, or maybe I don't know. So when you serve God, when you ask this question, there will be answers that is different from other one. Maybe yes, no, I don't know, maybe. I'm thinking about it. Okay, so remember that. The second question would be, it goes this way. Remember the second question that we put that on the screen? Suppose something tragic happened to you today. You stand before God, and God will ask you, why should I let you come to my heaven? What would you say? Some people would say, oh, there will be St. Peter who will be standing in the gate. But this is just like, a picture in heaven with God. But actually, God did not ask that this one. It's just suppose something tragic, God will ask you, what should be your answer? And so, their answer to the second question, what is it? While the answer to the second question reveals the basis of his or her assurance. So some people say, I'm going to heaven. But then the second question, they will say, you ask them, say, oh, because I go to church. I go to pastor church, and even go to two services. One in the morning, and one in the morning, right? One at 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the first worship service. Those are good. But we know later on that is not a complete answer. That is partly, it's not a complete answer. And so, their answer to the second one would be the basis of their assurance. It could be good works, could be generosity, could be going to church, could be anything else. But other than that, if they answer that one, we know that the person is not Christian. And we will later on answer that question. Then, the last person would be say, and if a person gives the right answer, they would say yes, and then they would say, yes, I'm going to heaven, and then you ask them, because I believe in Jesus Christ. So that person is a Christian, right? So in this training, we will be like nurse, like Agnes. We will be a nurse. The nurse's job is to assess, to diagnose, and also give the proper treatment. We will become a doctor, right? So Dr. Bernie, I will call you Dr. Bernie. So everybody will call themselves doctor now. Or mechanics. You know the mechanics, by just putting the engine on, they would know what's wrong with the car. And so today, just picture ourselves today that we are nurses, we are doctors, and we are mechanics. Because we are going to diagnose the person's spiritual condition. And we will ask this question to diagnose their spiritual condition. And then if the person will give the right answer, seemingly good answer, we will say, we try to prove. Yeah, we're going to heaven, but we're going to try to prove. Or ask, how did that happen? Paano nangyari yan? Kaya natin prove that we need to prove that this person is good. So we ask them how we ask them to give their testimony how we get Christian. Some people will give testimony that is not actually wrong. So that's why now we are here to diagnose so that we'll be able to implement the right medication. Like for me as a doctor of animal, they said that to be a doctor of animal is even harder than a human doctor. You know why? Because we could not ask the dog. Because our diagnosis, the assessment is just based on the outside. Of course now, We use MRI, stethoscope, we even use the hand. And the best way to ask is the owner. Unlike doctor, we will ask the person, what's wrong with you? The doctor will not talk. We just based on the symptoms of the dog. If it's limping or drowsy, something like that. So that is why we need to prove, we need to ask the person. We will be learning that and how to diagnose, and how to give a proper treatment. Because if you misdiagnose a person, it will end up a wrong treatment, right? For example, if you are vomiting, you're vomiting, and you give, you're vomiting, you're supposed to give grovel, right? And you give pampatae, no? You give what pampatae, what is that? Pumurio, right? Yeah. Because you're diagnosed right? So there's a doctor here, I'm not mentioning the name of the doctor here. So my cousin went to the doctor and was misdiagnosed and gave the medication, and of course it's the wrong medication, ended up in emergency. And so the doctor said, what are you taking? So you give the medication, stop taking it, you're gonna die. It was misdiagnosed, mistreated. And so now, as a Christian, we need also to be accurate with our diagnosis and to give the proper treatment. If the person is Christian already, we don't need to share the gospel because he's already Christian. We just need to prove or give the testimony, ask for testimony. Okay, we'll not be going into that in detail, but yeah, cool. Are we connecting? Are we make sense? Makes sense, right? Makes sense. Makes sense, yeah. Makes sense. All right. Okay, again, this is very interesting here. Just mentions. Now, answer to the first question would tell us whether that person has assurance of eternal life. Because that's the big thing, assurance. People are not assured of their eternal life. That's what we need to be assured that. Second question, the answer to the question is this one answer to the second question reveals the basis of his or her assurance. And so, why do we need to ask this question? Again, to ask this two questions, mentioned a while ago, is to diagnose, check your spiritual condition, saved, unsaved, not sure, don't know, I don't care. So those are the probable answer to our question when we go out to share the gospel. These are expect this one. To employ the proper treatment solution to your diagnosis spiritual condition, as I mentioned earlier. Alright? So then take note of that. Okay, how to start the conversation now? Okay, how to start? It's supposed to be Diane to give this one, but unfortunately she was not able to come because there was a flood up there in the north. Anyway, so I'll try my best to do this. Try my best. Hopefully you will follow me. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.